When we lead with love, we carry it 24/7. And when we teach with love, we make sure our students don't forget it. To be black and to educate, to be superhero without the applause. It's to show up and show out no matter the cause. It's to play for the students no matter the winner. Because when we work arm in arm, the impact is bigger. Welcome to Untenured Podcast, where educators have a space to speak their truth. So tap in and listen to the very voices that mold our youth.
Ready?
Let's do it. Yeah, come on.
So blessings, Untenured Pod listening community, and thank you for joining us for our 6th episode in season 2. We're staying on the East Coast, and count us biased for another dope conscious convo for the culture. As you know, our motto here in our house, speaking your truth can never go left because it's your right. And for this one, we're talking identity to the umpteenth power with the founder and CEO of Identity Talk Consulting. He's developing K-12 teachers into identity affirming educators and is a staunch ambassador and advocate for teacher empowerment. Prior to starting his firm, he served as a middle school math teacher in Philly and Boston for 9 years. And today's guest is a whole movement wrapped in one educator. 17 years in the game, and he's still out here making teaching look like an Olympic sport. We're talking about the classroom champion, the author with receipts, the consultant who somehow manages to make PD feel like a playlist you actually want to run back. His accolades prove he's not new to this, he's true to this. 2019 National Member of the Year by Black Educators Rock. That's right, consistently named a top education influencer by Brightbeam in 2021 and 2022. Light work. And if you've read Education Week, checked out Edutopia, tuned into WGBH, or caught the Tavis Smiley show, chances are you've seen his brilliance front and center. Most recently, we are too hyped to big him up for being recognized as a top 50 trailblazing educator by the Educators Room for their 2026 cohort. Let's go. Kwame's newest book, Learning to Relearn, Supporting Identity in a Culturally Affirming Classroom, is out now and already shifting the way educators think about identity, power, and belonging. A text that doesn't just talk about identity, but demands we treat young people's identities like sacred ground. An ancestrally aligned advocate, a culture-centered change maker, a freedom-focused framework builder, an identity-infused instruction innovator, and a learning to relearn luminary. So buckle up, because today we're diving in with the educator who doesn't just teach culture, he builds it. Let's welcome the one and only Mr. Kwame Sarfo-Mensah.
Damn. This might be the best intro I've ever received. And I've been on
but that's you.
A gazillion podcasts. All right, sis.
Listen.
Here's how I know you're different.
I was telling your predecessor, Jaritza, if I do one thing right on this whole thing, because I'm new to this podcast world, I'm going to introduce our people. I'm going to do it.
You don't look like it. You don't look like you knew. The way you introduced the brother, like I could tell you prepared. I didn't even tell you about the educator's room. That just popped up.
That just came up. Yeah, it's a stalker game, and I do it equitably with every guest. So
I love it.
Yeah, so that's you. That's you in a very succinct nutshell, and I'm sure there's other things we could highlight and lift. But we're playing no games with this one.
Yeah.
Why entitled?
I wanted to say this.
Yes.
I appreciate the alliteration as you were just.
Thank you. And I'm a
math teacher. I was a math teacher, but I appreciate some English language now.
I started as a math teacher in Brooklyn, and we vibe on that wavelength as well. But alliteration is my jam. From Yaya Whaley Williams, it's like it's one of my it's the gift and the curse. The gift and the curse. So big ups to alliterations. And so we're playing no games. Every guest gets to title their episode. Brother, you chose Unentitled. What was bubbling in your soul that made you title the one and only that made sense?
Well, I mean, as we were talking about this, my original one had already been taken, but I said this
unlearn.
is a really good second. And the reason why I went with Unentitled is because I feel like when I look back on my life, nothing was just given to me. I was never entitled to all the things that have happened, right? Yeah. I've always had to work 10 times harder than the next person to earn the next thing. I like to think of myself as a late bloomer. Okay. I've always had a grind for every single thing. And when I think about entitlement, there are people who have gone their whole lives without having to work a single minute for what they've gotten. It's
Yeah.
always been just given to them without them having to go through the steps,
Yeah.
without them having to go through the natural progression of how things should go. I've always had to take those steps incrementally to get to where, I needed to go, whether it's school, whether it's getting opportunities professionally,
Yeah.
climbing the ladder. I've always had to go through the mud to
Yeah.
get to where I am. So that's
Well,
why I chose that title,
listen, in a
Unentitled.
culture and a climate where microwave vibes are like the wave, cheers to crockpot and the slow grind and
Yes,
the clear progression upwards and onwards, but paying due diligence and doing it when ancestrally divine. And so
that's
we
right.
closed out season 1, episode 10 in Chi-Town. And brother Asif Wilson, he had a sentence stem that I said all season 2. I'm going to ask every guest this prompt. And I just want you to fill in the blank. I'm going to spit it to you. You tell me the first thing that comes to mind. You ready?
Yes.
So, if we had listened to Black women yesterday, how would you finish that sentence? If we had only listened to Black women yesterday.
If we had only listened to Black women yesterday, the world would be a more harmonious place.
He said what he said. And if you don't know why he said what he said, you can follow this brother on IG at Kwame_the_identity_shaper. And I don't need you to tell me the why, because we already know why that answer is the answer. And so, shifting gears a little bit in the gender world from the she to the he, I ask every guest, to pick a historical figure, past or present, who has done something for the culture or the movement that has inspired your work. And you chose Colin Kaepernick. And Kwame, your work is rooted in identity, courage, and creating spaces where young people can show up fully as themselves. Colin Kaepernick risked everything to do exactly that on a national stage. How has his willingness to, stand in truth, even what it cost him, shaped the way you think about what educators must risk or rethink in order to truly affirm students' identities?
Well, yeah, I would say it's Colin Kaepernick for the reasons you mentioned, because he is the embodiment of integrity. This was a man whose NFL career was on the rise, and it was taken away with just one action, one bold
Nonverbal.
action, nonverbal.
Mm-hmm.
And what people forget is he got his counsel from a veteran. It was a veteran.
I didn't
I
know that.
believe I believe it was might have been a Navy SEAL who he had talked to get advice on how can I go about this without being disrespectful to the flag. The Navy SEAL, you could look this up,
Yes.
recommended that he takes the knee.
And yet still.
And
From
yet
a veteran who served this country, and yet still.
Exactly.
So
And
what
you
does
saw
that
how
tell
he
you?
was you see how he's blackballed.
Listen.
But yeah, I just think about him because, for one, I grew up watching football. I was a 49ers fan for years.
We forgive you.
And and when all that happened with Kaepernick, I went maybe a good 6, because that happened about 2015-ish. No, 2016, around there. I went the next 6, 7 years without watching football on Sundays, Mondays, Thursdays. I totally boycotted NFL.
Yeah.
Like, I totally boycotted to the point where my wife is like, wow, like, you're very present on Sundays now.
Yeah, yeah.
That was never the case. That was
Yeah.
never the case.
Yeah.
So, because it really hit me to the soul. And, this is a brother who, outside of being a Kappa, he's like an academic All-American. He was, in many ways, an anomaly when you think about football players.
Yeah.
And I didn't realize how socially and politically conscious he was until he took the knee. I said, oh, smack.
You about that life. Yeah.
He about that life. He a real one.
Yeah.
And he has not wavered since then.
Yeah.
All of his actions he has taken since taking that knee have been in line with everything he has said. He has not wavered one bit. And I believe he's even bigger now than he was before. I mean, I know he lost his career and he is still trying to get back into a league that don't want him back, but I feel like you winning, brother.
Yeah, all the way.
You
And
winning.
so if you could take a message from that you might share with educators about something that, they must risk or rethink in order to affirm student identity, what might you say to that?
I would just say, and it goes back to my model. So my model is, and I'm at the lift, it's stay true to the teacher and you right here.
Okay,
That's the
merch.
model.
We'll be dropping the link
So
in the description box.
yes. So what that means basically is this. You got to follow your moral principles, your ethics. You got
Integrity.
to do what's best for students. Even in the most adverse times, you got to think, is this in the best interest of my students?
Come hell or high water.
Come hell or high water. If
Yeah.
this were my son, if this were my daughter, would I want her to be in that predicament?
Yeah.
See what I mean? Like, you got to treat it as if these are your own children.
That part.
So if they are in this situation and you feel like it's not in the best interest of them, then we got to do something to act on that. And I feel like that's what it comes down to. We've been in, for so many years, we've taken the conservative route.
Yes.
You
Yes. And
know,
time to
we
center them more.
right. And we've come to realize that even if we say the politically correct thing, even if we use code words, even if we engage in an action that's not going to ruffle the feathers, we still lose at the end of the day.
Come on.
Even when
Do nothing.
even when we're creeping or teetering,
Yeah.
nah, it hasn't worked out.
Yeah.
So
Be bold.
we got to just
Take a
call
knee.
things as they are.
Yes, and take a knee. And so I love that you also lifted into the conversation that he was a scholar athlete, right? Because that's
Yes.
another anomaly that exists when we think about male athletes or athletes in general, that they are not scholarly. And so in the spirit of embracing the scholarly side of Colin Kaepernick, can you share a book that built you? One of the things we talk about here at the book Zeum is it's not just building your own home library. It actually becomes a reflection of your professional, if not personal, growth over the span of your life. So can you name a book that helped shape your identity?
Oh, sure. There's so many, but the one that comes to mind is, I'm gonna go with Pedagogy of the Oppressed by Paulo Freire.
Paulo Freire, come on.
I mean, that it's a book that every educator needs to have in their library. And for me personally, it's a book that I read, and when I read it, it gave me the language to understand why it's important to be an advocate as an educator, why
Yeah.
it's important for us to, to share in the curation of the classroom experience with our
Yes.
students,
Yes.
and not to look at it as control, but rather, no, I'm going to utilize my power in a way to empower my students.
And I love that you lift that forward because it makes me think of one of my favorite quotes of his from that book, that education does one of three things. It either alienates, domesticates, or liberates. And it only
There you
falls in one
go.
of the three chunks. So which one are you going to be about as you step before young people in this pedagogical role? And so I also saw that you are currently reading Rebuilding Students' Learning Power. Shout out to Zaretta Hammond. She's got a new book out. If you don't know, you better ask somebody. And
Oh
it's
my
the
goodness.
subtitle is Teaching for Instructional Equity and Cognitive Justice. A few quotes I lifted from that text because I finished it at the end of 2025 is
Yeah.
they tend to focus on and misunderstand the culture part, thinking that that's some euphemism for talking about diversity. And what I love in part about this book too is that it invites us to become the personal trainers of students' cognitive development. What's jumping out at you as you read this book?
I think that part. It's just the
Mhm.
fact that when we think about cognition, it's something that we have to model, right?
Yeah.
I think as educators, we talk so much about metacognition and thinking about the way you think about information and process it. But how many of us actually model what that looks like? How many of us actually embody it ourselves? Like, we
Uh-oh.
can't be telling our students to do that if we ourselves aren't doing that,
And
you know?
explicitly
And
instructing them in it.
yeah, because part of the reason why students don't get the best instruction is because we don't understand how cognition works.
Hmm.
We don't take the time to account for the neuroscience when
Yep.
it comes to how students process and visualize information. And that is something that we overlook more often than not. And it leads to some of the negative results that we see, whether we're talking about reading, whether we're talking about standardized test scores, any
Mhm.
metrics and forms of data you can think of. It ties back to that
Ties back
because,
to that. Yeah.
yeah, and I think another part of it too is, and this is something that I've mentioned in previous podcasts, is the fact that you have a subgroup of educators who just go in and just go through the motions.
Hmm.
Just get the check.
Yep.
They love they love education for the perks that it provides.
Summer's off.
The summer's off
Maybe my
and
master's subsidized. Mm-hmm.
all that, loans, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But then you have some who really love this profession.
Yeah.
And even if they weren't getting paid, they would still love it equally as much.
And those are the ones.
So much so that they study it, they hone in on their craft, they do everything they can to perfect it. Doesn't matter if you're in year 5 or year 24, you find a way to perfect your craft because you recognize that as a learner,
Mm-hmm.
there is something that you can always do better. You
Come on.
never quite arrive as an educator. You
It's a
never
journey.
arrive. There's always something you can do to improve. You're always honing at those skills.
Yeah.
And those are the ones that thrive. It's
Yeah.
those type of educators.
Well, Kwame said it here, and you might have heard it before, but not like that. Teaching is a destination, not a journey. And moreover, if what he's describing about the connection to neuroscience is sparking a synapse for you, you might want to check out Zaretta Hammond's first book, Culturally Responsive Teaching in the Brain. Total
Yeah.
vibe that goes into the neuroscience of exactly what he's speaking around. All right, so we're going to go in and out of your personal professional dopeness and some micro segments that we do here on Untenured. The first one we're calling This or That. Not a fan of Black Sheep, but you know that song. You could get with
Of
this or
course.
you
Come
could get
on.
with
The
that.
choice is
So
yours.
listen, don't make me start. I'm not gonna do that. No. But for those who aren't familiar with the hip hop genre or even that song, think of it as a Sadie's Bookseum twist on Would You Rather. So quick answers, no overthinking, but feel free to unpack if you want. Let's see where your mind goes from the classroom to the culture and everything in between. You ready?
Let's do
All
it.
right, here we go. Would you rather get with this or that? Teach the teachers or coach the coaches?
Teach the teachers.
Boom. Hip hop lyrics that teach life lessons or jazz that tells ancestral stories?
Hip hop lessons that teach life lessons.
He said what he said. Oral history or digital archiving?
Come on, oral history.
I know I should have scratched that one if I really was looking at your IG page. We'll move
It's
on.
the only answer.
It's the only answer. Equity in access or equity in outcomes?
Ooh, this is a good one. I'm going to go with equity and outcomes.
Okay. Go back and meet your great great grandparents or go forward in time and meet your great great grandchildren.
Dang. I'm going to say meet my great great grandparents.
All right, we taking it back. Bold disruption or incremental change?
I'm going to go with I'm
I
gonna go
know. I'm sorry.
incremental change.
All right, incremental change. He said what he said. Here we go. This is an ode to your book, Learning to Relearn or Relearning to Teach.
Ooh, you hit me right now. You
Come
know
on,
what?
I can do this right.
Let's go with relearning to teach.
Boom. Live concert or studio album experience.
Live concert.
What's the last one you saw, by the way?
Last live concert I saw. So my wife and I we went to see a local Zambian artist who's like a legend here in Zambia. And that was amazing.
It was amazing.
His name is Danny Kaya. But as far as a US based artist,
no, I'm not putting nations or continents on it.
Oh no. I mean, I'm gonna share both.
Okay,
because I feel like US based, I think it might have been Eric Roberson.
Oh, okay.
Arrow, yeah.
Yes. All right. Very, very cool. Here we go. Back into it. Safe spaces or brave spaces?
Brave spaces.
Spike Lee classics or Ryan Coogler modern hits?
Gosh.
Ooh.
You know what?
They're not watching. I'm
gonna go with the OG, Spike Lee.
Spike Lee. All right. Here we go. Equity audit or empathy walk?
Empathy walk.
5 more. A child's question that stumps you or a student breakthrough that wows you?
I'm gonna say a child's question that stumps me.
Okay. Mentor the kids or unteach the system?
Mentor the kids.
Yeah, help them just whitewater raft through the crazy. Here we go. This one gets spicy. Spades or Uno? Brother, don't tell me you don't know how to play spades. That's been a recurring theme. Or tell me, this is a safe space.
I plead the fifth.
Okay, he's skipping that one. I'm going to ask you later. Okay, audio book or printed book?
Printed. Gotta be tangible.
Okay, and last one, disingenuous co-conspirator, if that even can exist, if you really are about it, or a performative ally?
You know what? I'm gonna go with the disingenuous co-conspirator.
Yeah. All right, and he said what he said. And so speaking of printed books, can you share the inspiration for your latest published work? I love how your book kind of like allows readers to jump around between chapters as needed. Like, what was the inspiration for even that?
Yeah. So in case people wondering what the book is, this is the book right here.
Ready. Yes. I was going to pull it up, but go ahead. You could do it.
Yeah. Learn to relearn. Oh, you got your copy too. Go ahead, sis. Come on.
Go ahead. Learning to relearn. And so what I love about it is that you recommend starting with, don't make me reach and read. I'll pull it up in 1 second. You recommend starting with chapter 1, which examines and challenges the culture of whiteness in schools, like that invisible framework, everything from curriculum to policies. And for educators who've never thought of themselves as part of the problem or who fear that confronting it will make them look bad, what hard truth do they need to hear right now in order to move from like complacency to real action?
Yeah. So the reason why I recommended for folks to start with chapter 1, which focuses on what you mentioned, disrupting and examining whiteness, is because that is the default that we're born into. Any person who's born into the society is born into whiteness. So we are literally indoctrinated by that from the moment we come out. So there are some things that we're accepting as truth without even taking the time to investigate, because that's what's considered the norm around us. Yeah. And it's not until we get to this age of enlightenment and adulthood where we realize, how messed up
they're not
things are in our society.
Yes. Yeah. And so he recommends starting with chapter 1, but again, it does have a bounce around vibe, which I love, which isn't traditional for an educational text, but all the more reason why to love it. And even when I think about your consultant work, how you challenge schools on identity and equity, there must have been moments when the room literally got heated, whether tension was rising or resistance was mounting. What's the most intense thing that got spicy that you faced, and how did it force everyone, even including you, to confront the truth?
Luckily for me, up until this point, knock on wood, I haven't really come across any type of confrontation in
Okay.
my presentations. Usually the people who sit in my presentations are people who are very much interested and passionate about the work. So we're already in alignment in that regard. So it's really just more about building capacity and also just not only asking questions, but me as a facilitator guiding them in that thought process as they're trying to navigate this space that can be uncomfortable at times. So yeah.
Well, let me not manifest any of that came across in that question. And we might even cut that from this pod so we don't have it
There you
linked
go.
in the sphere. There will be none of that, because if you show up to his session, please be about that life. And so in episode 5, Brother Akil Parker, he's actually a Temple U alum
Oh,
along
I
with
know Akil.
Yes,
All
he
this
was.
math.
Yes, all this math.
That's
He was
yeah.
episode 5, season 1, unafraid of math. And he said it's a political necessity for Black boys to be deficient in math. Can you tap in on your thoughts on this? Shout out to Akil and all that he's doing and growing and exponentially creating.
Yeah, shout out to brother Akil. Also make sure if you do check him out, subscribe to All This Math,
The
incredible
channel.
YouTube
Absolutely.
channel. He's doing some great work in that field. But just thinking back to this perpetuation of Black incompetence when it comes to the field of mathematics, I mean, that's all by design.
Hello.
And what's wild is the fact that we are the first mathematicians. You go back to ancient Kemet, aka Egypt. The first mathematicians look like you and I.
Hello, Kush, Timbuktu. Come on, y'all.
You know
If
what I
you really
mean?
listen to Nas verse 3, I can. He tells you
I
right in there.
can. Yeah.
Right in there. So it's by design, but it's not the fact of the matter. Not even
Right.
a little bit.
And I think if we just take the time to look at the history of mathematics and we're looking at the ethnomathematics of it all, people will see that that is the case. This is all documented, and we could do a whole episode on that. But I'm sure Brother Akil did
Yeah,
the
he
due
went in.
diligence
He
in
went
terms
in.
of that. But just the long story short, it's within us. It's in our blood. So
Absolutely.
there's no reason for us to be afraid of math or for us to even think that we're not worthy or capable
Yes,
of
absolutely.
learning math at a high level. It's in our DNA.
It's in our DNA. And you are a living testament, along with Brother Akil, about the power of even Black men in the STEM field. And so just to spit a
Yes.
little data fact, which I'm sure you already know, that Black men make up approximately 1.3 to 2% of the education public school teacher workforce in the US. And so it made me want to ask you, as I ask every brother in this seat, at what grade did you have your first Black teacher, let alone, if ever, first Black principal?
Interestingly enough, I didn't have a Black teacher. My first Black teacher actually came in 5th grade. Only had one Black teacher throughout my time in K to 12 in the States.
Okay.
Now, of course, when I lived in Ghana during my grade 7, 8, and 9 years, they all Black.
Rampant.
They're all
Yes.
Ghanaian.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even count that.
Yes.
But just in the United States alone, only had one Black teacher. And her name was Mrs. P, and she was super dope.
Shout out to Mrs. P. You ever had a Black principal in your
Black
K-12 experience?
principal? Unfortunately not. All my principals were white.
Well, listen, that's also a separate TED Talk. It's something that we're tracking episode to episode, because even though your book is about relearning to learn, it is also for educational leaders, because last I checked, a synonym for principal is instructional coach. So you need to be immersed in these texts that are helping you to not only talk the talk, but walk the walk, to guide teachers onto this path of identity work and culturally responsive teaching. All right, last question before we hit another micro segment. What do you think would make this profession, either education as as a whole, or even specifically STEM education more attractive to help retain Black and brown folks?
Oh, it's funny enough. I've actually asked this question to folks on my own podcast. I didn't talk Educators live. Make sure
Mhm.
y'all
Yep,
subscribe
I'll
on
drop the
YouTube.
link.
Yeah. Um, I believe it's the marketing.
Hmm.
I don't think we do the best job of marketing Black educators.
Hmm.
Um, and I do believe that there are people who are doing an incredible job. I think one person, for example, is my brother, Mr. Sharif El-Mekki,
Yes.
who's doing the damn thing with the Center for Black
Black
Educator
educators.
Development.
Hmm.
And there are many others who are doing the work, but his name just comes into mind. Shout out to Sharif.
Hmm.
I just feel like we don't advertise the greatness of Black educators, especially Black male educators.
Yeah.
Uh, now, in this current era of social media, you're seeing more and more Black male teachers doing the thing, and kids are seeing how dope it is to be an educator. They're also seeing the fact that even though you're an educator and you're teaching in the classroom, you have the ability to do so many other things outside
Hmm.
of that. And
Hmm.
I can give so many examples. One that comes to mind is good brother in ATL, Mr. Alfred Shivy Brooks.
Alfred Shivy Brooks. All right. Alfred Shivy Brooks. Okay. Hmm.
So he is Call Me Shivy
Okay.
on Instagram.
Okay.
Gotta follow that brother.
Doing it
He's
right now.
somebody, yes, he is somebody who not only is he a classroom teacher in high school, he also owns his own merch shop.
Oh, yes. I've seen him. I'm following him already. Yeah. I didn't know his
Yep.
handle. Hmm.
He's also I believe he is also an elected official.
Oh, I didn't know that.
He's an elected official, yeah. Like school board.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
The
and I think, and
flexibility in
if I'm
terms
not
of
mistaken,
Mhm.
maybe the first classroom teacher, active classroom teacher who is in that role.
Wow. That says a lot.
And then listen, and there are so many others, I mean, who are doing incredible things. Like even like my sister, I have my sister who I went to college with. Her name is Ashley Moore, but
Yes.
y'all call her Principal Mo.
Oh, yes. Okay. So
So
Mo.
Principal Mo and I, we actually were in Temple together,
Oh, wow.
going moving up the ranks. So
Yes.
like all the stuff that people see right now on social media, I was seeing that
Way back young.
20 plus years ago. So
Yes.
like these are the people who I've been around in my journey, and they have done their parts to inspire me and keep me motivated as I go through my own journey. But I think to answer your question, at the end of the day, we got to do a better job of marketing how dope this profession is.
Yes.
It doesn't
Yeah.
have to be how it's always been. It
Yeah.
could be whatever you want it to be. As you've seen from the different examples on social media, people may be classroom teachers. That's just one part of who they are. But
Yeah.
they're doing so many dope and innovative things that are outside the box. We
Yeah.
got to highlight that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And there's some local examples that come to mind. I'm going to drop that in the box. One being
Yeah.
Lawrence Harvey. He's an elected official, the mayor of Newburgh, New York, who keeps his 9 to 5 as a history teacher in the P-Tech model. So shout out to the P-Tech in Newburgh. Shameless plug. My husband is the principal of that P-Tech. And so the mayor is the history teacher in that school building. And what that does for the young people in terms of flexibility, access, like helping them to dream, that they don't have to to be one thing. You're allowed to be a multi-hyphenate, speaks to exactly what you're speaking of. And so if you remember in our this or that, you said you would pick hip hop as a genre. No pressure to answer this question with a hip hop artist, but if you could name an artist whose swag matches your educational vibe, like imagine you as a multi-hyphenate, you are not only a dope educator consultant, you're now a recording artist and you going on tour. If you had to name an artist whose swag matches your educational consultant vibe, who would it be? And you're allowed to blend if it's two or more.
Oh, dang. Okay. Hip hop artist
Or
that matches
otherwise,
my
you can blend genres.
swag. Okay, okay. Um, you know what?
Just don't say Drake, brother. Please don't say
No,
Drake.
no, no.
Because we're going to edit
I'm
that
very
out.
much
We're going to edit that out.
nah. We ain't doing all that.
We're not doing that.
Um, I'm gonna say I'm gonna go ahead and say Big Daddy Kane.
Okay.
I'm gonna throw Big Daddy Kane there because with Kane, the brother was smooth. You know, you talking about Dark Gable, you know,
Yes.
always was dressed to the nines. And when I was in the classroom, I was always dressed to the nines. Like I had the bow ties, I had
Oh, so
the
you were quarter
slacks, you
zip.
know what I
You were quarter
mean?
zip? You team quarter
Yeah,
zip? He's quarter
yeah,
zip.
yeah,
All right.
yeah. I
So
do
we're gonna
that
go with
too.
Big Daddy Kane. So then a follow-up question to that, because another thing we do here on our pod, we have an untenured hype playlist that essentially is in sequential order, the hype song of every guest, all the way back from episode 1 with Shakur up until you. So is there a song you wake up, you're dragging, you're kind of in a funk? I pop this song on and it's my hype song to get me ready to do the damn thing. What are you rocking?
All right. I got a few, but the one that comes up for me is Scenario by Tribe Called Quest.
So what? Okay, so listen, y'all. Kwame is you're 16. So track 16 is gonna be Scenario by Tribe Called Quest. Not on one of my favorite albums, which is Electric Relaxation, but still a dope song. You're gonna find that on our podcast playlist channel. And anytime you hear that song, you can now think of not only him, but this conversation. And so finish this conversation, this sentence for aspiring Black educators. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the hype. I'm about to enter the field as a Black educator. I'm a brand new teacher, and you just want to leave me with this one sentence stem as I enter my first year teaching. Don't believe the hype about what?
Don't believe the hype about our children.
Boom. And again, if you're wondering what he means by that, I'm not even going to ask the follow up at Kwame_the_identity shaper. And if he has time, because this brother's now booked and busy globally in Zambia now, he'll tell you why he said what he said. And so one other ode to a former guest we had that we love, Dr. Asia, shout out to the Melanated Book Exchange. She leaned in heavy on the importance of rest, especially for Black educators and leaders. And even in this process of relearning and unlearning, in a system that often tells Black boys how they should behave before even asking who they are, how do you navigate being both a disruptor and a role model without burning out? What do you do for rest,
Yeah.
rejuvenation?
I think before I answer that question, shout out to Dr. Asia Lyons. That's the
Yes.
homie. Check
Oh,
out
come
the
on.
Exit Interview podcast.
Yes.
Support the sister.
Yes.
Okay. How to balance between being a disruptor
Yes. And a role model without
and a
burning out.
robot. I think for me, I'm a work in progress. That's still something that I'm still trying to navigate. I think you realize that you can't be your best self if you're not prioritizing your self-care. And that's something that I've learned the hard way because you see all the issues.
Yeah.
And I think when you're a Black male educator and you're one of the few in your school, and in my case, one of two, you feel like there's some extra responsibilities that transcend the scope of the work that you see on the contract. we talk about invisible tax all the time. Like there's an understanding, there's an implied understanding that you're gonna have to do a little bit more than what's required of you.
Yeah.
And you go into your school with that mindset. And sometimes that may look like, in my case, I lived in the same neighborhood as many of my students. My school was a 7-minute drive from my home in Boston. So I could easily go to one of my students' cribs and
Pull up.
have a conversation with his mom, and they feed me dinner and all that. Like I did stuff like that, do the home
Yeah.
visit, or I call certain times because I felt like that was what was required. And I also believe that going the extra mile allowed me to strengthen my relationships with my students, which then went a long way. So,
Absolutely.
but I also know that it was at the expense of my own family, not spending as much time with my wife. At the time, for most of that time, I didn't have kids. I got 2 sons now. So the way that I was grinding,
you can't grind
5, 6 years ago, I can't do that anymore because I have to strike a balance so that I can be more present for them. And even that's a process in itself. So
Yeah, and then shout out again to Dr. Asia Lyons, who's promoting rest, and shout out to you for promoting that. Your passion can stay the same, but sometimes the path you take and the route you take changes as your life changes. And so, one other
absolutely.
question before we hit a micro segment called Deuces: what stereotype are you tired of disproving? Like, if you could just remove this stereotype, like, please, like. I walk into spaces, and whether it's intentional or not, whether it's overt or not, I'm tired of disproving this stereotype.
I think for me, being a Black expat and traveling to as many countries as I've traveled, the fact that I have locks, people assume that I'm Rastafarian, or
Huh.
they assume that I'm smoking the reefer,
Huh.
and that's not the case. Like I don't smoke at all, but
Come on.
I'll go to a country Southeast Asia. They got like a nickel
A bag.
bag right in front of me,
Like
or
it's gonna
here,
entice you. Yeah, yeah.
or go to a restaurant. They start playing Bob Marley
Come on. Come on.
just out of nowhere. I'm like, come
Yeah.
on, man,
Do better. Yeah. And
come
how
on
about
now.
you just grow your awareness and consciousness, because we are
Yeah,
not
yeah.
that
Like I
mindless.
like, and for me, it's like, listen, I like Bob Marley. But you
But
know what? It's all right if y'all play some Bruno Mars. Y'all can play some
come
Maroon
on.
5. I be
And
like,
shout
I
out to the
mess with them
romantic
too.
tour. Shout out to the
You
romantic
know,
tour. He just
I
announced
saw that.
with Anderson Paak and some
Oh,
other
that's
folks.
gonna be
And
fire.
as a Philly person, are you ready for the Jilly for Philly album? It comes out February 13th. Are you ready for
Oh,
Scott's new album?
I've been watching the interviews of late. I said, "Oh, come on, Jill."
Come on, Jill.
Yes, I
Listen,
said,
you
"Come
take a
on
break
now."
that long. I'll take this version of Jill if you're gonna step away for
Shoot,
that long. She's
but
a whole lot.
I tell you what, as someone that lived in Philly for 14 years
Yep.
and grew up in Philly, like became a man in Philly, I was fortunate. I was spoiled, man. I was able to see the Roots Picnic. I was able to see Jill Scott in concert several times. I was able to see Bilal. I
Oh,
was able to see like all the Philly acts you can think of.
at
I
its
got the
prime.
chance to see them at least 3 times, each of them,
Oh my
over the
goodness.
course of that time. It was a beautiful
And it's not
period of
like that
time.
anymore, because I was about to say, oh, well, maybe we just uproot and move, because not for nothing, another appropriate tangent. I'm sure you know Uncle Bobby's. That bookstore actually inspired
Oh
us
yeah,
as a family.
shout out to Dr. Mark Lamont
Mark
Hill.
Montel,
Yeah.
yes, it actually
Yep.
inspired us to think about, oh, we don't have a Black-owned bookstore anywhere in our local community as a family. So shout out to Philly and all it does for the culture. All right, so you ready for deuces?
Let's
And if
do
I
it.
had been a little more intentional with preparing for today, I would have put these micro segments in mathematical sequential order, because there's 3 micro segments and it goes from giving you 1 option to 2 options to 3 options. But this one is deuces. I'm going to give you 3 options and I'm going to say them slowly. And let's just be clear, brother. All of them are harmful in the system. But if you could wave your magic Sarfo-Mensah wand and get rid of just one tomorrow, which one got to go ASAP Rocky? So 3 harmful realities, but you can only get rid of one. Are you ready?
Okay.
Here we go.
Let's do it.
So policing how our kids talk, policing how our kids act, or policing how our kids dress in school systems. All are real, all are happening, but which one got to go ASAP?
I'm going to go with, policing how our kids dress.
Boom. And he said what he said. Again, at Kwame_the_identity shaper. And ask him his why, because we don't got time. I think I know why he picked it. Next one. Districts that post Black squares but ghost Black staff. Schools that love Black culture but not Black critique. Or, since this episode is dropping on the observance of Dr. King's birthday this year, January 19th, leaders who quote Dr. King, but then silence living activists.
Wait,
I'm
gonna go with.
Don't lean back.
No, I didn't. Oh, yeah.
It's not that lean back.
It's not that kind. No, I'm contemplating. Yes. I'm gonna say these are some good questions. Wow.
Thank you, brother. All harmful, all real. No,
they are harmful. I would say.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? Because Dr. King's birthday coming up, I'm gonna go with the last one.
Yes. Okay. So don't quote him and then silence Kwame when he comes in your district.
Mm-hmm. And speaking of Dr. King, can we stop with these AI generated videos of Dr. King doing all this wild stuff? Can we respect this man's legacy, please?
Are we jumping to oh hell no? Do you want to do that? He's like, no.
I mean, I got a different example of that.
Okay.
I got a different example to share, but let's keep going.
If you're tuning in for the first time, the last segment is oh hell no, and our guests get to pick a topic they're saying oh hell no to. He's given us a micro taste of a tangent one. He's got another one in his back pocket, but let's stop with the AI of Dr. King. Let's just stop. Just stop. All right. Here's the next one. Whitewashed curriculum, white savior mentality, or white fragility.
Oh man.
Which one gotta go?
Say deuces to. Mm-hmm. What was the second one again?
Savior mentality. Like, oh, let me go teach in the hood, and like Michelle Pfeiffer, Dangerous Minds.
Dangerous Minds. Okay, I got you. I'm gonna go with. Damn, I'm gonna go with white fragility.
Boom. Yeah, we don't have time for it, so it gotta go. All right, here's the next one. Districts more concerned with their social media presence than their presence in the buildings with kids. Shout out to Jaritza Viaba, who gave us that one from her episode. Equity leaders spending more time convincing adults than serving the youth. Or schools confusing representation with transformation. So social media over your actual presence in buildings. Mm-hmm. Spending more time convincing adults to do right by kids than focusing on serving the kids. Or schools confusing representation with transformation. Like, oh, we got more Black staff, so we're good. We're transformed.
I'm gonna go with the representation over transformation.
And he said what he said. All right, here's the next one. Teachers who are resistant to identity work, but trying to claim that they're a CRS teacher. Like, they don't want to do the work you're talking about, but I'm culturally responsive. Teachers who are willing to teach Black and brown kids, but not learn from them because I have the power and the knowledge and nobody else. Or teachers who censor the content because it's not their job to like the kids.
I'm going to go with the first one.
Yep. Resistant to identity work, but claiming you're culturally responsive. Stop the cap, as the kids would say. All right.
And I said what I said.
And he said what he said. And you can hit him up on IG and he will still knock you down and say what he said. All right. 2 more. Here we go. Chuck up the deuces. Educational leaders who have never taught. Unfortunately, that's part of the reality here in New York City. If you go back to Kathy Black, look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. Educational leaders with no cultural competency. or educational leaders with an inability to create a vibe for their school culture and climate. You never
I'm gonna
taught,
say
you're not culturally competent, or you don't think a vibe is necessary for your school to thrive.
educators who lack cultural competence.
Boom. He said what he said. And here's the last one for surviving. Deuces. Teachers who promote Black history. Shout out to Black History Lifetime, because we don't subscribe to months. It's a mindset here. They promote Black history but crush Black futures. They teach Black and brown students but aren't willing to learn from them. Yes, we repeated that one. Or teachers who celebrate compliance but won't cultivate teachers. Genius. Sorry, they won't cultivate genius. They want to celebrate compliance. I throw up my Black History bulletin board, and then that Black man comes in and say, you can't do math. Like, go be a gym teacher, right? Or I'm teaching the kids, but I don't think I can learn from them because they're Black and brown. What do they know? Or I'm celebrating that they're compliant, they're quiet, they're in their seats, but I'm not looking to cultivate their inner genius.
Let's go with the compliance one.
Yeah, we're not doing it because this is pedagogy, not penitentiary. And shout out to an alliteration. He said what he said. All right. So, oh, hell no. Here we go. You heard Kwame tell us, please stop with the AI generated versions of Dr. King doing this, that, and the third. But that's not the topic he wants to chime in on. For this micro segment, every guest gets to pick something, whether it's education or not, that is recent in pop culture, education, their personal lives, that they want to just tell everybody that they're saying emphatically, oh, hell no to. And Kwame, what are you picking for us to chime in on?
Oh, hell no would be, other than the obvious one, which is anything that Donald Trump does. I'm gonna go with this one. Now, I mean, obviously, I'm gonna go on a serious note because this is something that just is in my heart right now.
Sure thing.
With all the ICE raids happening, and particularly what's happening in Minneapolis, in Minnesota, right?
Come on.
You have U.S. citizens. So these could be like first, second, third generation immigrants. The U.S. citizens who are scared of being harassed and physically assaulted by ICE officers. They're walking around with their passports and working papers. They are U.S. citizens, y'all.
Walking around with that.
And they're walking around with passports and papers just to ensure that they're protected and they're not getting harassed.
Yeah.
That is the world we're in right now.
On U.S. soil. Yes.
On U.S. soil. So, like, just on a personal note, I am a child of immigrants. My mother and father came from Ghana after high school in the late 60s and made life here in the United States. Both of them are U.S. citizens. Now, my mom still lives in the States out in Chicago. We talked about Minneapolis, but we've seen what happened in Chi-Town.
Yes.
Some months back with the same ICE officers.
Yes.
That could be my mom in the crossfire. And she'd been a U.S. citizen for well over 3 decades. Well, 4 decades, actually.
Yeah.
But because she has an accent, she might get picked on. This is real. I mean, this is what's real, about this. That it's probably the biggest hell no right now, among other things too. So many more hell no's I could share, but that's the one that's in my heart right now.
And thank you for lifting that up, because again, when we think about what this country was supposedly founded on, or even that aside, right, what we subscribe to in terms of this culture of belonging, it's the antithesis of what you're describing. But what is happening is so overtly being done in our face and causing immense harm, not just to people's morality, their humanity, and what we truly should be embodying as people who celebrate diversity. But all the above to everything that Trump is doing right now is a oh hell no. And we said what we said. And so, in the spirit of that, our follow up and last opportunity to vibe is called They Say, You Say. And so, sometimes we hear things and see things in the news and life or in our neighborhood. We say, oh, hell no, outwardly, or when we get home behind the privacy of our doors. But we know what it is to be in certain settings and have to filter our language, right? That duality of AAVE versus let me say it in a way that will be heard for my message and not my delivery. And why I love to end with this micro segment, They Say, You Say, is I'm going to say something that you might have heard before. And even if you haven't, I have or other episode guests have. And you get to say the first thing unfiltered that comes to mind. Expletives are allowed. This is a pod for grown folks, but you strike me as a brother with an extensive vocabulary. But if an F-bomb drops, so be it. All right, so here we go. Here? Oh, yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. This is not for kids. It's for grown folks. Here we go. So they say, you say, I'll say something they say. You tell me what your answer is. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
So they say, oh, you're just an angry black man. You say,
I'm just an angry black man. I would say, I don't know, fuck out of here.
hey, and capital FOH for folks who want to talk in Instagram language. Okay, they say, this is America, learn English. Like, what is all these accents and things? Like, English is the dominant language. You need to learn it, speak it, and comprehend it. You say?
I say, immigrants are the reason why America is still standing.
My snap ain't snapping enough, but I'm going to give a audio effect. Thank you, StreamYard. All right, here's the next one. They say, not every student needs to feel included. Not every student. School isn't a spa day. It's not Burger King. You can't have it your way. You say?
I say school is a breeding ground where students are able to learn how to socialize with people different from them.
Mm-hmm. They say black males such as yourself, they should teach discipline, not derivatives. Like, we need you to do the discipline. Get these kids in order. Don't worry about the math and the science and social studies. You say?
We got enough people doing that in the penitentiaries.
Ooh, not the neck roll bop. Okay. They say lowering expectations for kids is compassion. Like, they're going through a lot. Let me just lower the bar so they can meet the mark. You say?
How come you don't have more confidence in our people?
Eyeglasses adjustment. They say joy doesn't belong in serious spaces. Like, if you're headed to med school or you're getting your doctorate, like, you're talking about joy and learning, it doesn't need to coexist. You say?
Joy is everything.
Come on. They say leaders don't need to deepen identity work for classrooms to succeed. That's work for personal counseling and therapy. Like, they don't need to deepen identity work. You say?
Leaders are educators too.
And last one, they say your book, Relearning to Learn, should be banned. You say? Yeah, we got banned.
Oh, well, I say the people who are saying that this book should be banned should be banned.
Hello, and one of our models here is part of our merch line. When they say ban, we say required. So if you're looking to ban Kwame's book, he actually is saying thank you because he's amongst some of the greats. And so that's a wrap on another unapologetic episode of Untenured. We want to thank King Kwame for being with us to talk about Unentitled, his consultant work, his experience, for tapping in on some lightness and levity and also some very serious matters. And here at Untenured, where we refuse to borrow our worth from systems that were never built for us. Huge gratitude to him. He's a whole syllabus, a whole movement, and a whole mirror for what identity affirming education can really look like. Buy this brother's book, follow him on Instagram, support him on all things, subscribe to his podcast platform. And from the classroom to the culture, he reminded us that teaching is not just a profession, it's a practice of liberation. If you felt seen, stretched, or slightly shook in the best way, that's because conversations like this are doing holy work. Be sure to grab Kwame's powerful new book. He's holding it up right there, learning to relearn, and keep letting young people's identities be treated like the sacred ground they are. Until next time, remember, you don't owe anybody anyone's smallness. Silence, don't shrink, be you unapologetically. Any closing words for our listening viewers, Kwame?
I would just tell them to continue to fight the good fight. I mean,
yes.
Just continue to fight the good fight. And I like to just share another one of my favorite sayings is that we got to go from inaction to inaction.
Ooh, with the space from inaction to inaction.
Oh, it's
That might be a
actually
whole t-shirt.
based on one of my books, one of my previous
Listen,
books. So
and I
from
will
inaction to inaction.
in action. I'm going to quote you. That needs to be on a t-shirt, a hoodie. I clearly love hoodies. I will
Oh,
buy one.
It already is.
Oh, so I'm going to go on your website right after this and cop a few and give it out to some folks.
I didn't talk merch shop. Go cop that.
We're going to do that.
From inaction shirts.
Go from inaction to inaction. Thank you again.
That's right.
Stay dope, stay disruptive, and keep it unentitled. Blessings.
Let's do it. Yes.